Hey folks, Don Garbutt here. In this tutorial for music marketing, I'd like to show you the Sugar Bytes WOW plugin. I'm going to show you the setup of WOW in Logic. To enable MIDI control over all the parameters, you have to load it as an instrument, as opposed to a plugin on an insert. On that software instrument strip, select WOW from the Audio Units MIDI Controlled Effects folder. Once you've loaded WOW, you have to route the audio into WOW by sending the signals out a bus. For this video, I've got a few channels sending out to bus 1. Make sure that the bus 1 auxiliary object is set to no output. Now select as the sidechain input the bus 1 signal. Now you've enabled the routing of all signals going through bus 1 to show up at the WOW plugin. Click here to see your presets menu. In the second video on WOW, I'm going to show you how to use MIDI to remote control program changes. You can save your own presets in the user folder. Here you have the selection for a filter type. You have a variety of slopes in the bandpass, high pass, and low pass filters, plus the band reject, comb filter, and some bit crusher effects. Here's an example of a signal being processed through a modulated low pass filter. Here the 16th note sawtooth wave is modulating the cutoff point. You have a rate and a waveform selection choice here. You have the standard LFO waveforms plus a sample and hold option. The other modulators include an envelope follower and a step sequencer. To make assignments of these modulators to various targets, you option or right-click on the target knob. This is the modulation assignment. To have a positive modulation effect, you move to the left of the center. To have an inverted or negative effect, you can move to the right. So you can see here I've got the LFO modulating the cutoff point. And here is where you press Learn and move a MIDI controller to assign a MIDI controller to a target. Every knob can have that assignment of modulators. It gets interesting when you look a little deeper, like say for instance in the LFO section, and you realize that the rate of the LFO can be modulated. You can set up a pattern with a step sequencer to modulate the rate of the LFO. You can also set up a pattern to modulate the waveform choice of the LFO. These lead to really interesting combinations of modulation. Modulating volume from a sawtooth wave enables you to get pumping effects. With the envelope follower, the volume of the input signal causes a reaction in the target control. This can work like a compression effect where the peaks of the input signal push the volume of the master output down. This control works like a bandpass filter, selecting the frequency that activates the envelope follower. The third modulator is an 8-step step sequencer. As well as cycle direction, you also have a random setting, so this way it'll randomly select from the steps of your sequence. Each of the filters can also work in vowel mode, where you can select the vowel tone and sweep back and forth between each vowel setting. Here's an example of a manual sweep through the vowel settings. That's it for part 1 of this 2-part tutorial. In part 2, I'm going to talk about how to set up MIDI control of program switching and give you some more examples of some nice settings on the WOW. I'm going to leave you with a piece of music that demonstrates some of the patches that I've built in WOW. Thanks for watching.